Superhero movies were flying high just a few years ago. It seemed that every single one of them made a ton of money. But, much like Icarus, the studios flew too close to the sun. The last couple of years have seen most, if not all of these movies in this genre fail, capped off by the recent massive flops of The Marvels and Madam Web. Now, one of the biggest hits during the high point in superhero movies was 2016's Deadpool. It was a massive hit. At the time, it was the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. Having Ryan Reynolds play Deadpool was also a masterclass in casting. His quick-witted snarkiness is perfect for the irreverent anti-hero. Deadpool 2, well, not quite as good as the first one, was also a big hit and is highly regarded by fans and critics alike. In 2022, when it was announced that not only would there be a third Deadpool film, but that Hugh Jackman would reprise his role as Wolverine, joining Reynolds' Deadpool for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, comic book and superhero fans lost their minds. Two of the most iconic MCU characters in the same movie, played by two beloved actors, expectations were through the roof. But, you know what they say about high expectations? Rarely are they met. So what do we have here? Is this yet another superhero flop? Is it a case of expectations being too high? Or is this actually a good superhero movie that not only makes money, but matches the hype? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot for the movie Deadpool and Wolverine.
Let's talk.
So here we are, it's 2018. Wade Wilson uses Cable's time-traveling device to travel from his timeline, Earth 10,005, to Earth 616, the sacred timeline, where he meets Happy Hogan and requests to join the Avengers, but he is rejected. Now, 6 years later, Wilson has retired from being the masked mercenary and is working as a used car salesman after breaking up with his girlfriend Vanessa. Now, during his birthday party with Vanessa and all his friends, the Time Variance Authority, known as the TVA, captures Wilson and brings him to Mr. Paradox, who offers him a place on Earth 616. However, Paradox also reveals that Wilson's timeline is deteriorating as a result of the death of Logan, aka the Wolverine in the movie Logan, who is revealed to be the timeline stabilizing anchor being. Wilson steals Paradox's Tempad to travel to multiverses to find a variant of Logan and bring him back to his timeline to attempt to save it. After several failed attempts, he finds the version of Wolverine that he hopes can help him save his world. So let's start with what works here. After a really long wait, MCU and X-Men fans finally got what they always wanted, a Wolverine and Deadpool meetup, and I'm happy to say it works really well. Reynolds and Jackman are awesome together, playing well off each other and clearly having a great time. The chemistry between the two characters and the actors, who are real-life best friends, is obvious and carries the film. Both know exactly how to play these characters and it shows. And after waiting 24 years, we finally got to see Hugh Jackman wearing the iconic Wolverine costume from the comics. Speaking of Jackman, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this might have been his strongest performance as the Wolverine. Also, the fourth wall breaking continues to work well here, as does the mocking of several aspects of the recent MCU and Disney failures. There are a ton of irreverent gags throughout, and most of them work pretty well. Finally, there are a ton of cameos here. Now, I won't spoil them, and I will say that sometimes I think cameos can drag a film down, but in the all-over-the-place world of Deadpool, I think they work, and I love them. Some of them I really loved. I won't spoil them, but there's one in particular that I was just glad to see.
So cool.
But all is not perfect in this film. Now, this is not a standalone film in any way, shape, or form. You need to not only have seen the Deadpool films, but you need to have seen most, if not all, of the X-Men Wolverine films. Even a couple of the MCU Disney shows to fully understand what's going on. Also, I hate multiverse. Multiverse stuff is so difficult to follow. It's funny because while the movie mocks the silliness of the multiverses and how people are really tired of them, the plot fully relies on it. And speaking of plot and script, well, it's a bit of a mess. It's like an ADHD nightmare. It's all over the place. and it uses excessive jokes to cover this up. It's like a stew where they just threw everything in it without bothering to taste it. And the final showdown with the villain is kind of anticlimactic. It's the same old stuff we've seen 100 times before. But you know what? Who cares? We wanted a fun and bloody team up between two of the MCU X-Men film's favorite characters, and that is exactly what we got. So to answer our questions, while it may not totally meet our expectations, it comes pretty close, enough to match the hype. And judging by its massive opening weekend, it's going to make a ton of money. I think it's going to hit the billion mark. So is this an excellent superhero movie? No. Is it a good superhero movie that mostly delivers? Absolutely. So Deadpool and Wolverine is probably the best superhero film since Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home. It's extremely funny, it's meta, it's crude, it's bloody, and at times it's unsurprisingly wholesome. It's close to everything longtime Marvel fans could dream of for the dynamic duo of Reynolds and Jackman, who absolutely deliver with their amazing chemistry. It's a film that solely relies on comedy, action, and fan service. But it does all three of them very well. I mean, because if you're not servicing your fans, why the hell are you making movies?
Give the people what they want, right?
Well, that's it from me this week. Tune in next week where I give you my thoughts and feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share this video with friends and enemies alike, and as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.